At police headquarters 703, the whole team was busy with new cases, primarily petty thefts that happened regularly in town. Even boss Liu Feng did not have time to rest. He sat down to review the murders. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. The person who came in was Captain Chow. He reported to his boss Liu Feng about the disappearance of many people recently in the mountainous area. Immediately, boss Liu Feng ordered Captain Chow to prepare the entire team for the scene quickly. It was a severe case, so they could not take it lightly. Team 1 was ready to go to the scene. The incident was in a mountainside area next to town, so it didn't take a long time to get there. When they arrived, they knew that the person reporting the crime was a middle-aged man. His face was panicked and extremely scared when he said that his family members told him to go fishing but did not come back. He led the team to where his relatives said they would go and cast their nets to catch fish, but disappeared. The water surface was relatively calm at this time. Boss Liu Feng and everyone felt the surrounding air was full of the smell of death. This lake was quite big and looked very deep, and there were almost no fish because the lake's surface was tranquil without a ripple. It seemed very strange. Boss Liu Feng asked a man when this lake existed. The man said that this lake just appeared recently, but this was the old chemical factory area. Immediately, boss Liu Feng ordered the team to take measurements and look around this lake. Previously, this area was a chemical factory serving the army. After a landslide, this lake was also formed. Boss Liu Feng then ordered the police officers to get ready to dive to the bottom of the lake to investigate. At the command of Captain Chow, they would dive to the lake's bottom to find the missing people. They would bring knives to protect themselves. After hearing the signal clearly, they began to plunge into the water led by Captain Chow. The water of this lake was always calm without a ripple. Everyone in boss Liu Feng stood on it waiting for news from Captain Chow. As for Captain Chow, after diving, he quickly reached the bottom of the lake, which was relatively deep. He glanced around at the bottom of the lake. It seemed that this lake had subsided and formed not long ago because the lake's soil had not yet wholly turned into mud, and the pieces of bricks and stones built by the people before were still very much left. Captain Chow continued to swim around to check. The light down here seemed very weak. Suddenly, he saw something blurry in the distance. He decided to swim closer and discovered something which appeared to be someone's body. But why didn't it float on the water? Come to think of it, Captain Chow swam there quickly to see the situation. But when he swam closer to the place, he was amazed at what was in front of his eyes. At the bottom of the lake was a dead man, gripped by something, like the tentacles of a giant octopus. The strange thing was that even though he had been drowning for many days, the man's skin did not swell and looked like it had been sucked out of nutrients. Captain Chow was about to go over to see what had wrapped the man when something appeared beside him. It turned out to be another giant tentacle. It approached him from behind. He quickly glanced to see more clearly. That tentacle also had a lot of fangs sprouting out, looking scary. Right now, from below, similar tentacles began to appear, and the terrible thing finally came to Captain Chow. A series of other tentacles gradually appeared from the bottom of the lake. At that time, Captain Chow hastily turned his head and swam to the surface to escape. But unexpectedly, those tentacles were so fast, they grabbed his legs. Sharp fangs clung to his flesh, causing him terrible pain. It began to tear pieces of flesh from his leg as if it was food. Captain Chow reached out his hand to cut it off with a knife, but other tentacles surrounded him, wrapping around his arm. Fortunately, his teammates arrived in time to rescue him, cutting off those hideous tentacles. When the tentacles were severed, it spewed out a monstrous black liquid. The teammates were finally able to bring Captain Chow to the surface, free from the monster. Seeing that Captain Chow was seriously injured, his boss Lu Feng asked why, and was also very worried about him. Chow was panting now, reporting a giant monster below which had taken other victims to eat. What's more frightening, Captain Chow's condition was quite bad at that time. The places where those tentacles wrapped, the meat there was swollen like it was rotting. Both Captain Chow's legs and arms were starting to give off the stench of washed meat, and the pain was excruciating. After listening to his teammates' report about the incident at the bottom of the lake, Boss Lu Feng immediately ordered the team to prepare to drain all the water out of this lake. The whole team deployed the plan to destroy the monster instantly. In a few moments, the large capacity equipment used to draw water was delivered and ready to start draining. Many pumps were sucking the water below out of the lake. Boss Lu Feng and teammates were also waiting impatiently for what was in the lake after all. Because the lake was too deep, it took a long time to drain, and the sun began to set shortly. And the police officers also came to report to Boss Lu Feng that the lake water had been exhausted. As soon as they witnessed what was in front of them, the whole team was terrified. A monster or something terrifying appeared in front of them. It was huge. Its body was only made up of long tentacles and full of sharp fangs. It looked like a giant octopus, but that had no body part apart from the tentacles. Like tentacles growing from the ground, its tentacles still tightly wrapped the bodies of people who were thought to be missing. Their bodies were drained of their blood and dried up like mummies. The policemen grabbed their guns and started shooting at the monster because it had killed so many people. It must be destroyed. The bullets fired continuously at the tentacles, causing the monster to be injured and writhing in pain. Because it was so painful, it released the dead people on the tentacles, and the policemen took the opportunity to bring the dead people ashore. Then Boss Lu Feng ordered the implementation of Plan B. Large tanks of gasoline were prepared in advance and poured into the lake's bottom one by one. It seemed that Boss Lu Feng wanted to cook this giant octopus. They quickly poured gasoline down to drench the monster. Boss Lu Feng calmly pulled out a box of matches from his pocket and he began to light a match. Standing on high, he directly threw the match on the monster, and no one would be harmed by it again. Immediately the monster was on fire. It was in pain and writhed continuously with its tentacles. Its tentacles quickly burned away and its fangs slowly burned black and fell apart. Before long, the monster turned into a disgusting pile of black ash, and from the slime came a terrible stench like the smell of rotting meat, making everyone nauseous. After the monster was dead, the police officers were ordered to go down to the lake's bottom to look around. At the lake's bottom, scattered with many human bones, all the disappearances in the area were caused by it. Then Boss Lu Feng ordered the lake to be filled with soil. Finally, after dealing with the monster, the police returned the victims' bodies to their families. Also, they collected all the bones that were not intact for forensic examination to check the victim's identification. Boss Lu Feng also returned to the headquarters to review the case file. Captain Chow was seriously injured, but his bones were not affected, and he was treated promptly. Although the wound has not healed, Captain Chow had also rushed back to work. He did not want to miss the cases. He brought his boss Lu Feng a report on the case of a giant man-eating octopus. This octopus had mutated and lived underneath the abandoned chemical factory. When the lake was formed, it was also when it emerged and resided below. The case was quickly closed, and this case was also listed as top secret. After this case, Captain Chow was rewarded for his bravery. However, there were still many strange cases ahead waiting for Captain Chow.